every 4 computers now has primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Talk about some of the characteristics of what a high-performing or a high-performance team would look like in a soccer league, Ethan.
Of course, you want to work together during it because it's not just one player. Like, I might be the captain, but I'm going to need everyone else to have their role. And you build everyone else to be their own leader as well. You can't, it's always good to have one person that can lead everyone, be a captain, but it's always good to build everyone else's confidence and self-assurance and their ability and what they can do. Because everyone has an important role in the team, even if you're just on the bench or just sitting there the whole time. You still got an important role to build up the team.
So you're saying that no matter your position on the team, you have influence?
Yes, because you're on the team for a reason. It's something that doesn't come every day, and some people, they try out for a team, but they don't make it. So they choose you for a reason.
What do you think, Ava, for your squadron? You know, what kind of characteristics does a high-performing team have for your team?
Integrity and definitely respect goes a long way in any place. Having respect for your senior members that are higher above you and also the cadets that are even lower than you, because it encourages them to work to get to that place, and it makes everybody feel really safe and connected with each other. And it really helps in a workplace to know that everyone respects each other, and it makes everybody feel more safe and makes them feel like they have a reason to be there.
Leaders, when you hear the term high-performing teams, what visions or words come to your mind? Maybe words like focused, goal-oriented, collaborative, innovative. Well, it's great to have you back on Let's Lead Better, Influencing Improvement in Carrier Maintenance. My name is Kelly Souders, part of your Carrier Team 1 team, and I am so excited to be with you today and help you lead better. Today, we will be exploring how to create that culture in our organization to develop those high-performing teams. Now, didn't you just love hearing from Ethan and Ava earlier? What amazing young leaders of influence they are. And they're only 14, heading right into high school. Ethan really takes his influence seriously on his soccer team, and he knows the importance of his role as captain. And Ava, she's part of the Civic Air Patrol, which is an auxiliary unit to the Air Force. And her influence as a leader on our squadron, she really values integrity and respect as key attributes to developing those high-performing teams. So what is a high-performing team? Simply put, a high-performing team has shifted from being a performing team. A high-performing team is comprised of highly skilled individuals working together on a cross-functional team towards a common business goal. So that would lead us to the next question. How do you shift your team from being performing to a high-performing team? Well, leaders, it starts with you, your influence. As a leader, your influence is essential to creating those high-performing teams. So let's say you were asked to be the captain by your coach, and the captain has definitely a certain level of influence with his or her teammates, where your coach still maintains that position, being responsible for your team. How can you use your influence as a captain to help your team move from a pretty good team to a high-performing team?
One way that really works is to be vocal with them, kind of direct them around, but not command it and be bossy. You gotta lead them through it, but also another way that always works is like by actions, because sometimes actions work better than words.
So Ava, you're here with the Civil Air Patrol, and you're an element leader for your squadron. You still have someone that's in a position of authority of your team, but how can you use your influence in your element to help your squadron become a pretty good performing team to a high performing team?
One is just being honest with them, admitting that you've made mistakes, because the cadets look up to you to a certain degree, just how they look up to everybody else in the squadron who's higher above them. But also respecting them is very important, and letting them know that you've made mistakes, because then I mean, sometimes everybody makes mistakes at one point because we're all learning and we don't know exactly what we're doing. But being very direct with them and admitting you've made mistakes helps to encourage them along.
I heard some crucial things from Ethan and Ava just now. Clear communication, lead by your actions, honesty, vulnerability, responsibility, and encouragement. Wow, at such a young age, they are already practicing level 2 influence with their teams. So I want to talk with you about 5 things concerning your role as a leader to help create that culture and develop your team into a high-performing team. Leaders, it starts with you. You cast the vision, you set the direction. John Maxwell states in the Law of Navigation that anyone can steer the ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course. I've heard John say it many times before, that a leader knows more and before everyone else does. Well, next, you have to have the ability to connect and develop that influence with members on your team, level 2 relationships. They need to feel valued and part of the team. This is all about being inclusive. So what are the characteristics you need to have as a leader of influence on your team?
Well, some of the characteristics I would say is you gotta be a team player, have the leadership quality, and one thing that our team likes to look at is responsibility, respect, and just have fun during it.
I think one, you need to be able to understand the people you're working with, understand their struggles, and think of how you can help them along. So understanding the person and what they're going through is one big factor, and also understanding what you're here to be doing. If you take into example or thought what you're doing in that situation, you're going to have different values you need for different things. So if for example, if you're working in a fast food restaurant, you're going to have values such as you want to be fast, you want to be respectful of the customers. If you're in my squadron, you want to do things like you want to have respect for everyone around you, and you want to have volunteer service. So you want to be able to put yourself out there and try your best.
Responsibility, respect, and fun. I love that. That is some great advice for us as leaders to remember when we're trying to develop those connections with our teammates. Now, I don't know if you caught it, but Ava was talking about servant leadership, leading with a serving attitude. Now, that is someone that I would allow to influence me for sure. Remember, your influence is different with everyone on your team because you are on different levels with each of them. So what are your team meetings look like? Well, if they're not meeting the mark, let's look first at the relationships with each of those teammates and start there. You need to have a fully engaged team. And as a leader, you lead first by being inclusive with everyone. Well, the third role I want to talk about leaders is you need to listen and ask questions. Now let me say that again. Listen first and then ask questions. That really helps develop that trust. People really think about 3 questions when they're really making the decision to give you permission to influence them. Do you care about me? How can you help me? Do I trust you? Ava said something that really stuck out to me. I asked her what she would do to help someone on her team that could be struggling with figuring out their role or feeling part of the team.
I'd sit down with them and may ask them how they're feeling. Maybe they have a reason for, staying behind, or maybe they don't want to do something specific because they have a reason for that. But I sit down and I talk to them and try and understand their situation and how they're feeling about it. And I try and help them move along. I tailor the situation to their needs and may pay more attention to them in a way. Pay attention to everybody, but help them in their struggles to move forward.
I love how she said she needed to listen to them, talk to them, and sometimes even tailor the situation for them. That's good leadership. Now, the 4th role is a hard one, but if you've been practicing level 2 influence, it does make it easier. balance, care, and candor. You can't be all one or the other. Now, in our last series, you may remember me talking about how we all have a natural bent. We either lean more towards a level 2 style or a level 3 style. If you lean towards level 2, you need to ensure you're addressing those challenging moments. And if you lean towards level 3, you need to ensure you're not only addressing those challenging moments, but you're ensuring that the individuals on your team feel valued. Now, it's a balance for sure, but one thing I know for certain, a leader needs to be able to step in. I asked Ethan in his position, has a leader ever had to step in to help him understand his role better?
When I was first on the team a couple of years ago, I was new to know anyone, but there was always the captain at the time, that came up to me and explained everything, how it all worked. But once they moved on to a new team, I stepped up in the role and took the captain's spot.
That was awesome. Did you catch it? Someone invested in him, and now he's stepping up and investing in others. Sounds like level 4 relationships to me, developing people. Well, last, we need to remain personally accountable and hold others accountable. Now, this could be a huge culture shift for some. We must have collective pride. It's not just about personal productivity or success, but the teams. And that's true for failures too. But even though we hold our teammates accountable, ultimately the leader is responsible. Leaders, you design the culture and the environment which produces those high-performing teams. It's intentional. High-performing teams, that's the end state. But let's step back for just a moment and ask ourselves a few questions. What is your influence with those on your team, and what culture are you creating? Keeping the end state in mind and starting from there all the way back to our vision and goals. And make sure you let the big Mo help you along the way. Remember, momentum is a leader's best friend. Well, I asked Ethan and Ava one last question. Talk about the influence other leaders have had in your life to help you.
2 people. My dad, for one, because my parents are always there for me and they always want to support me and help me move along, and they definitely have opened to a lot of opportunities to me, and they always encourage me to continue because then I'll get to a better place. And then my friend Ben, he's in Civil Air Patrol with me too, and he definitely has encouraged me to continue doing my best. And
My dad also, because he's also a coach, and now we kind of work together as coaches. I'm an assistant coach, and we have to work together to lead the kids because we do younger ones. And when I was with this team, when I was much younger, I used to see him as a leader and to bring up the kids. And then another person I always see is a lot of soccer players, professionals, but one person is Lionel Messi, who is just a natural leader with his talent on the ball. And yeah, it's definitely something to inspire me to want to play the game.
That sounds like level 5 relationships to me. Those that are leaving a legacy with those young influencers. So who are you leaving a legacy with? Well, that is all I have time for today, but I look forward to continuing to dive into level 2 and 3 relationships and how to take our good teams to become high-performing teams. Meanwhile, have a great week asking, improving, and sharing your knowledge. I look forward to the next step in our growth journey to Let's Lead Better, influencing improvement and carrier maintenance.
Every 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.